Hey everyone, it's Bulldog1205. I'm back again with another Nightsister video. Last week I showed you how to use the Talzin-led Nightsisters to do pretty good damage in Phase 3 of the Heroic Sith raid. I told you I'd be back once I got a chance to run it some more. I thought I could do a ton more damage, and I more than doubled my score this time. Last time I had just over 7 million. This time I've got over 15 million, nearly 16 million in damage. This is absolutely huge, whether you're a new guild trying to beat this for the first time, or you're a whale guild and you're competing for a top spot. Phase 4 Nightsisters are no longer king. It's going to be all about Phase 3 Talzin lead now. For those of you who didn't watch the first video or aren't familiar with what's going on here, start out, first thing you want to do is get Initiate and Talzin to die as quickly as possible. That's going to create a situation where you can use just basics, or almost always just basics, and you will revive these characters over and over again, generating a ton of health for Daka, a ton of offense and health for Ventress, turn meter for both of those. You're going to get a ton of turns, stack up a ton of damage by the end of this. So the tricky part is getting them to die quickly, especially when you're starting from a clean run in Phase 3. In my previous run, I didn't get them to die until the Trey's counter was 10. You're going to see here in just a moment, I'm going to get them to die with 13 on the counter. So that's a huge difference, especially when you get to the end. You'll see how much damage you can do for each turn. So having these extra turns at the beginning is going to allow me to stack up a ton more damage, and then you'll see at the end I get a lot more turns at the end this time compared to last time. You'll see Ventress doing absolute huge damage by the end of this. So here you go. Here's the reviving part that I was talking about. Daka is going to gain 50% turn meter every time an ally is revived and called to assist and dies again. Ventress is going to gain 35% turn meter. On top of that, every time an enemy resists an effect, all Nightsisters gain 5% turn meter. When Initiate attacks with a basic, she tries to inflict a damage over time. That's 5% turn meter. Because Trey is gaining stacking tenacity, so none of these debuffs are actually going to stick. As you can see, I did get plague to stick, which was actually huge, because Talzin, whenever she uses a basic, is going to try to inflict plague again, only if the enemy already has plague. So getting plague to stick at the beginning and then keeping that on there for several turns was actually pretty big. Going back to Initiate, sorry, I'm jumping around here a little bit, but going back to Initiate, anytime she inflicts a critical hit, or anytime she gets a critical hit, she's going to try to inflict a second damage over time. So that's another 5% turn meter if she inflicts a critical hit, which is why you need to mod her for max critical chance. I didn't list my mods at the beginning. If you want to see my mods, you can go back to my previous video. Everything stayed the same except for adding a lot more speed to Zombie. But I'll briefly go over how you want to mod them. Talzin is full out damage. Initiate is max crit chance, as I've said. Everything else being even, you want more damage. Zombie, you want as much speed as possible. I got Zombie's speed up to plus 115 on her mods. So not anything elite or anything like that. I did not use my arena mods to put on her. Daka doesn't really matter. She's getting 50% turn meter every time, so she's going to complete a full loop. So speed is completely irrelevant on her, with the exception of if she'd happen to get dazed or something like that, speed could be big. So speed isn't worthless, but on a perfect run, speed won't matter at all. She doesn't do too much damage anyways. But actually, if you were to mod her full out for damage, you could add a little bit, because even though she doesn't do a ton, remember Nightsisters get an offensive boost in the raid, um, and she does hit twice, so it's you could squeak out some more damage by modding Daka with some critical chance, critical damage, that sort of thing. I do not have Nightsister Spirit. I actually wish I did. Spirit would probably be better than Initiate, because Spirit will not need a critical hit to try to inflict two negative effects. She'll try to remove turn meter, try to inflict speed down. You'll get more turn meter that way, because it's more reliable. Unless you can get Initiate to 100% crit chance, which I don't think is possible, at least with the current mod system. That might be possible with the upgrades. I'm not sure how close you could get there, but that would be some huge mods to get Initiate critting every single time. So anyways, throughout this whole thing, you're going to be using basics almost every time, except for whenever you are ready to topple Traya. You do not want to kill a Saber with a basic, because that will permanently revive the Nightsister. So here you go right here. I use I use Ventress's AoE to take down the Saber. As long as Ventress kills any enemy, so kills any of the Sabers, her cooldown for that AoE will reset. So if one of the Sabers has Foresight, that's not a big deal. You can go ahead and take out the other two with the AoE. She'll get turn meter for taking them out. Her next turn, you can use it again and take out the one you missed the first time. So if for some reason you'd get unlucky, and like here, two of them have Foresight, if the other one would happen to evade and you don't take any of them out, that's really going to mess up your run. You'll probably have to restart. Luckily, the odds of that happening are very small. Another thing that you have to be very careful about, you see these two Sabers here have Retribution. If the Saber has Retribution, it's going to try to inflict Daze. Daze on Talzin, why do I keep saying Talzin? Excuse me. Daze on Daka or Ventress will really hamper the run, because that's going to stop your turn meter gain, stop that whole train. You're not going to get as many attacks to do damage. You're not going to build up as much offense to be doing more damage down the line. So that is key. The other thing that we're not on at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and mention here, is Isolate. Traya's Isolate. That is what's going to be probably the most annoying part of this, because Zombie has to be the one that gets inflicted with Isolate. If you're looking at her abilities up there, it's the middle one, so you've got to pay attention to when that is coming off cooldown. Whenever Traya comes off the topple, she is like the tank in phase 2 of the tank raid. When she comes up, that's a turn. She'll immediately have 100% turn meter to go again. So if Traya is toppled and her Isolate ability is on 1, you've got to be prepared for her to try and isolate somebody, because when she comes up from her topple, that's going to clear the ability counter down by 1. So she will use her Isolate first, and the tricky part is Traya and all 3 Sabers will have 100% turn meter. It's all random who goes next. If you're lucky, one of the Sabers will go kill. Well, if they don't kill Zombie, then that's okay, because Zombie can absorb Isolate then. If they do, you've got to hope either one of two things happen. we'll see it here. So here, got lucky. They targeted zombie anyway. So this was huge for my run. You'll see it very easily could have ended right here at 63% if Trey had isolated somebody else. So I'm going to get a lot more damage on top of this, and that was just pure luck. What can also happen sometimes is that if one of those sabers kills zombies, it will give Ventress turn meter. If she's at 100% turn meter, she can actually go in front of Treya if she wins that RNG roll of the dice. That's always great because it actually saves you an entire turn. Treya won't get that attack. Her enrage timer won't go down by 1. So in a perfect world, that is what happens, and you get a ton more turns that way. If you go back to the beginning, that did happen on one of my turns here, so I did get lucky at least once. I may have happened a couple times, but now we're at enrage, and there's a lot of luck from here on out. So you'll see what I'm going to do is I'm going to heal everybody up before enrage. In this case, I got unlucky because Initiate did not get revived. The reason you want all 5 people revived before Treya starts attacking is basically just to use some of those other people as shields. As long as you have Daka, or if Daka's alive, is great here because as you can see, revived everybody. I can continue through enrage. If anybody's up, you have a chance because if you happen to call Ventress to assist, she'll easily knock out one of the sabers. She'll stay alive. Ventress is the only one you need alive to keep going. If Ventress is alive, she can revive people. So you'll kind of have to just get a little lucky here on who stays alive. The key thing is when they die. And what's nice is that whenever somebody's revived after enrage, they don't keep their healing immunity. So Ventress and Daka can, well, and in this case Ventress got hit again, but sometimes you can revive them and then get them all the way back to full health. They can absorb a couple hits past enrage because they've stacked so much health. So if you're able to if they don't die on the same turn, it's actually great because you can alternate who you revive, get them healed back up. So it's theoretically you could actually solo this entire phase if you get lucky past enrage. To actually solo would take a ton of luck. I don't know if anybody will ever do that. As you see, we're doing we're at 55%. I can't remember where we started here. I think it was around 90%. So we're not even halfway through the phase of the raid here. But keep in mind that we're stacking a ton of damage. Let's see how much Ventress is hitting for here. As I was trying to decide how I should get rid of Foresight at this point. But here I'm going to use her AoE to clear 2 of the sabers. And in a second here, as I take my sweet time deciding, well, couldn't see the damage. One of these attacks here, we will see how much damage she is doing. Couldn't see on that one either. We'll get a few basics in here though. Hopefully we can see the damage. 223,000. So as you can see, this is going very quick. We're doing about 0.5% for every Ventress attack. Not to mention Talzin's doing 20,000-30,000 damage herself. So it wouldn't take a ton more turns past enrage because that damage stacks. You'd still need several more turns. I got decently lucky on this run here, but it was by no means a perfect run. I'm sure I have not seen anybody do damage over 15 million before, but I'm sure somebody's going to hit 20 million here eventually. It absolutely can be done. There can be some huge runs here. So you see my final number is 15.8 million damage. Absolutely huge. most people don't even do that much through with all of their teams throughout the entire raid. This is absolutely a game changer. If you guys have any questions about the run, like I said, I explained it a little bit as well in the first video. You can go back and watch that. I said a lot of the same things. Feel free to ask questions. Contact me on Discord. I'm happy to help any way I can. These Nightsisters are so much fun to play. CG keeps nerfing them. They keep coming back. We'll see if something like this gets nerfed in the future. But regardless, Nightsisters are going to be around for a while. Ton of fun. I absolutely love it. I look forward to playing this raid, solely because of this team. So thank you very much for watching the video. If anybody gets more damage than this, let me know. If you record it, let's get a video up. Let's see how much damage we can do with Nightsisters. Thanks again, everybody.